Bonsoir, tout le monde early. It's Catherine Ann Marsh. I am Catherine Ann Marsh. I recently have seen a Criterion Channel video avec mon stepfille, La Fille de Catherine Deneuve, Marcello Mastroianni, and I am still referred to as her stepmère, her stepmom, because of a relationship I had about Kathleen Deneuve for about 2 years and 3 or 4 months, and she and I are on good terms, and so anyhow, I just would like to talk about the film The Hunger. I've seen a lot of Kathleen's films. I went back and watched Belle de Jour twice. I've seen Tristana. I like Tristana a lot more than Belle de Jour because of all the cream cheese and the mud and the whips, and it was just, I haven't ever seen a director treat an actress so badly as Louis Buñuel mistreated and abused Kathleen during Belle de Jour. There's no excuse for that. And in Tristana, I liked Tristana a lot. There are a lot of more recent films of Kathleen's I've seen through the years, like Huit Femmes, and the list goes on and on and on. I've seen a lot of Kathleen's films. Potiche, I've already talked about, which I've seen twice. And I can understand about 80% of the French, currently about 85% of the French, without even looking at the subtitles. So anyhow, as far as The Hunger goes, and my comment about horror films, I mean, to watch something as a film, it doesn't affect you personally because you're not in the film. But you wouldn't want somebody to do that to you. I had a neighbor who owned a Tibetan shop near my old studio apartment in Manhattan when I first moved up to Manhattan to work on Broadway for the Living Theater. And I worked there for 3 years. And he asked me one day, why be nonviolent? And I said, because you wouldn't want somebody to do that to you. I have boundaries. I do everything I can to be a nonviolent person. The exception is self-defense, of course. Otherwise, it's part of the definition of insanity to do something to harm yourself or another human being. Is insane. Fou in French. And so, as far as the vampirism in The Hunger goes, I don't have an issue with the characters being vampires. This makes the film more compelling. But I've talked to Susan Sarandon about this because I met Susan when I worked on Broadway in '97, and she and I talked with each other when I met her. And then I had to go to work. I had a rehearsal. And so if somebody is going to act like a vampire in a film, first of all, you're supposed to act and not really bite the person, which is why it's called acting, and you're not really supposed to draw blood. There was not, to my knowledge, there was not an intimacy coordinator on the film The Hunger. And the director of the film just kept the cameras rolling and didn't say coupe no matter what Kathleen and David Bowie did to Susan. And that's not right. Don't get me wrong. As much as I love Kathleen, even to this day, when you do anything intimate to another actor or another actress in a film, you have to ask for consent. And there should be an intimacy coordinator on set. For any sex scene or any intimate scene in a film, there should be an intimacy coordinator hired as part of the budget for the film. And SAG-AFTRA had a whole long negotiation and lots of meetings about intimacy coordinators in the film industry about a year ago. And any film, I'm a filmmaker. I'm a realizator as well as being an actor and a published screenwriter. And if there were an intimate sexual scene in a film I'm making, you better believe I'm going to hire and pay an intimacy coordinator. And people have to get tested for COVID first. There has to be an HIV test, an STD test, a COVID test, and there has to be an intimacy coordinator on every one of those scenes. The Hunger did not have an intimacy coordinator. I'm a member of SAG-AFTRA. I'm starting to pay the dues now. And so, also, I thought Kathleen did a great job in the film, except for one point. Kathleen did not ask Susan for consent, and used an ankh she had to literally cut Susan and draw real blood. And the director of the film did not say coupe, and I'm sure that hurt. And so Susan and I have talked about this, and Susan says yes to me. There should have been a question asked. There should have been something said about consent. And there wasn't. It wasn't in the script. It wasn't in the script of The Hunger to ask for consent before doing anything to her in the film at all. And that's not right. There also, as I've said, there should have been, there's a motorcycle going by. Anyhow, there should have been an intimacy coordinator in the film. So when I made the statement about not liking horror movies, it's because some people have malentendu, which is a French word for bad intentions. Just not everybody has your best interest at heart in the film industry or in real life either. So it's a good idea to ask somebody, what is your objective in this scene? Or what is your objective in real life? Go ahead and ask. What is your objective is a question to ask. In this scene, what is your objective? In real life, in our relationship, what is your objective? There's a good question to ask somebody. And then proceed accordingly. I have boundaries. And a lot of people in the film business have boundaries. And I just would say The Hunger probably crossed a lot of Susan's boundaries, and no one even talked to her about boundaries or objectives either. And I'm sure it wasn't to be hurt during the filmmaking process. So this is all I'm saying. You don't go hurting another actor, and you have to ask for consent. Basic boundaries in the film industry and in real life. Très bonne journée.